Riverside.
What's going on, everybody? And welcome into a brand new episode of the Broken Wheel Bearing Podcast. And man, it's a brand new episode because it's been 7 fucking weeks. That's right. We are back on air this week. I'm your host, Matt Cotto. Alongside of me is my co-host, Jake Belts. What's up, Jake? 7
What's
weeks,
up, man?
7 damn weeks.
I felt bad for the people who probably been wondering where the heck we've been, but it's been a long 7 weeks for you and I, but I'm just happy to be back at it. Sucks we missed it. Really good races to talk about, but just glad we get to finish out the season.
7 weeks of worth of races, folks. You're going to be listening to us kind of talk about, tonight are kind of like our pace laps back on the podcast, Jake. You're right. Luckily, I'm in a fantasy football league with other NASCAR podcasters. Our good friend Full Throttle Media set that one up. By the way, I am kicking their ass. Thank you, Tyler, if you're listening. So anyways, 7 weeks, man. 7 weeks. And for all of you that did not know, we tried to post up on our Facebook page a while ago. We both had life-altering events that happened, dude.
We did.
2 life-altering events. Jake, I'm going to start off with you, and then we're going to talk about me real quick.
Yeah, well, I finally got to get married to my wonderful wife, so that kind of set things off for about those first 2 weeks, and it's been amazing. It was great. It was a great day, great wedding. So
yeah, beautiful ceremony, by the way. Beautiful.
No,
ceremony.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, that was awesome. I had a blast. I was up there. Of course, I wouldn't miss that for anything. But also, so again, Jake got married. And of course, I think for some of you that already are aware or reached out, tuned in, and all that type of stuff, I had the birth of my first child. And in case everyone's wondering, his name is Chase. Yes, I'm a big Chase Elliott fan, but also I'm a diehard Phillies fan, and they're going to get swept tonight, but that don't matter. So Chase Elliott, my son, he came in as Chase. So yeah, sorry for all of you folks that we have not been with you for 7 weeks. And like I said, pace laps tonight on our episode, first week back in 12 weeks. Kind of a good time, Jake, to kind of jump back in the rhythm a little bit. We just wrapped up the round of 12. Honestly, our last episode was after Richmond. So
yeah. Wow.
We missed, like you said, we missed a lot of great races to talk with all of y'all. We missed Daytona, so we missed the cutoff. And then we missed about 6 playoff races. But like I said, super excited to be back with all of you this evening on the Broken Wheel Bearing Podcast. Thanks for bearing with us. Thanks for checking in, tuning in as always. We are live on Facebook at the Broken Wheel Bearing Podcast Facebook page. And then also we are live on YouTube at the Broken Wheel Bearing Podcast. Fun fact about that, quite frankly, I think podcasters kind of forgot that our podcast existed. So like Riverside deactivated all of our streaming channels. So that was fun to get back in the rhythm on that. But again, welcome back into the Broken Wheel Bearing Podcast. As Jake said, we will be with you throughout the remainder of the 2025 season. Obviously we got some cool things that we're gonna be a lot better. Obviously in 2026, we're not going. Hopefully, we'll plan on taking 7 weeks off like we did this past year. But 2026, I'm looking forward to a clean year. Kind of have some stuff kind of working through the weeds, kind of getting up in rhythm for our 2026 slate as we're closing into the end of the 2025 regular season. Or championship season, excuse me. So this week, headliner, we have a massive headliner coming from the garage this week. I'm really excited to talk about this one with all of you. And then, Jake, we're going to talk a little about the Charlotte Roval with our fans. A couple things that we saw down there. Typical SVG win. But I'm going to be honest with you. I'm starting to believe some of these Cup guys are understanding how to race SVG on the road courses.
Yeah.
I really came away from that race thinking that, you know what, we might have some new winners on road courses in 2026. Then we're going to wrap things up. Obviously, we're going to talk massively with our remaining drivers in the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs. We have 8 remaining. I love this round for multiple drivers. We'll get to that in later in the show. And we're going to close things out like we usually do with our next weekend race preview. and our picks are going to be coming from Las Vegas. Jake, I know with that 5 hat on, you're probably licking your lips in excitement of a underachieving driver in the playoffs. By the way, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm just
Hey,
saying.
not wrong. You're not wrong. It's been disappointing, but
And you
he's
got the
been
Phillies
racing good
jersey.
enough to keep going.
Well, that's all that matters, right? Like I look at it, and it's like I was doing some stats and data analytics before tonight's episode, and I'm looking at some of these drivers, and I'm like, damn, like some of them really had shitty playoffs up to date, and then the ones that didn't have bad playoff runs are the ones that might be below the cut line right now. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, we'll get into a lot of round of 8 discussion with all of you this evening as well. So, Jake, let's kick things off with our headliner this week, courtesy of Sports Illustrated, and this comes from Zach Evans. NASCAR increasing horsepower for Cup Series at several tracks in 2026. So it was announced earlier this week that next season, several events on the NASCAR Cup Series calendar will see an increase in horsepower. NASCAR President Steve O'Donnell confirmed on the Dale Jr. Download that NASCAR will increase horsepower for the Cup Series at road courses, which again, we just talked about, could be beneficial for a lot of these drivers, and all tracks under 1.5 miles in length in the 2023 or 2026 season. Excuse me, tongue twister there. O'Donnell explained the decision to increase the target horsepower to 750 during the episode, which was released on Wednesday on the Dale Jr. Download. So why 750 was the question? Why not 800? Why not 1,000? So if you look at where we are today, O'Donnell says, where we can go without completely changing over the industry. And so whatever you do, you want to make sure that if you're going to change the horsepower within the car, you've got to match it up with the aero of the car. You've got to match it up with the braking. All these different things come into play. O'Donnell continued saying that O'Donnell cited feedback from race fans and stakeholders within the sport for the inspiring decision. Officials hope this will increase passing and create better racing product on the short tracks and the road courses in the NASCAR Premier Division. O'Donnell ended one of his last statements where we hear the fans, we hear the industry. Yes, we want to try and see what we can work with here in this sport. So this is courtesy of Zach Evans of SI.com. Honestly, I don't even know if the article is really courtesy of Zach Evans. It's more of the Dale Jr. Download.
Yeah.
Steve O'Donnell was on earlier this week. Jake, NASCAR listened. They heard that fans wanted more horsepower. To me, it might be a little less than I wanted, but I understand as an aero guy in a wind tunnel aspect and the braking on this next gen car, I think 750 is a pretty good start. Go for it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's exactly what you said. We've all been wanting these cars to go faster. We want to see more aggressive driving, which I think you're going to see now. But I also think this is like their baby step into. We want to keep increasing this, but let's start like what are they at now? Like
550, I believe.
Yeah.
I think it's 550 or 650, somewhere around there.
I think it was like 650 or 670. I could be wrong, but no, I think it's a huge stepping stone. I think it's really going to change the way of racing. I think you're going to see a lot more of competitive racing, and I don't really think you can be able to like. There's guys who dominate at those short tracks, and I think you're going to. I don't really think you can go into it and be like, oh, this guy wins this race all the time, or this guy's really. I think it's a toss up now. And road courses, like you said, maybe this is going to be an advantage for these guys to compete with SVG. But like you said before, I think this weekend showed that these guys are starting to figure it out.
Yeah, I am all for this podcast. Like clearly, before Jake, we had Vince. We were all pounding the table for more horsepower. Right, this next gen car has been atrocious. Let's call it as is.
Oh, yeah.
It's basically a boxy wind tunnel engineering marvel. That's all it is. And I think adding more horsepower to short tracks, to road courses, absolutely is going to make the racing a lot better. I always look back at Martinsville over the last couple of years with these next gen cars and how Martinsville on a short track, you don't have that much passing.
No.
And then look at this past spring when you had Denny Hamlin basically took the lead, led 200 plus laps, and was untouchable. I feel like the more horsepower is going to create a competitive advantage for all these drivers. Now, when they go 1.5 miles or less, I don't know if that includes the 1.5s. I don't think it does. I think it's going to be a mile or less. So that's going to be some pretty good tracks, right? You're going to see Nashville Super Speedway in the 750
Oh,
package.
yeah.
You're going to see all the short tracks. You're going to see Bristol. You're going to see Martinsville. You're going to see all the road courses in this 750 package. I think that this kind of brings back, because to me, when I look at the generations of cars, I think the Gen 6 was probably the best car. One of the best cars, excuse me.
Yeah,
We can
yeah.
go back to Gen 4. I thought Gen 4 is the most beautiful car that the sport's ever put out in its existence. But I think the Gen 6 is right there.
Yeah.
And when they made the switch over, you heard multiple drivers complain about the car. Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch has only gotten 4 career wins in this next gen car. Now, maybe his career is washed. We've had that conversation multiple times. But maybe adding more horsepower may end up extending the light at the end of the tunnel of Kyle Busch's career. I am really excited though that we're going to probably see more, or that we're going to see more horsepower, especially on the road courses, because when we look, Jake, every single week. I mean, I know we haven't done it recently, but every single week when you start seeing attendance dipping, the fans are getting fed up. They're getting annoyed. No, we don't want to go to a road course. And what SVG has done is absolutely remarkable. It should not be taken away from anything that he's accomplished. Should be taken away. But when you're winning races by 17 to 20 seconds, is there any competitive advantage? I mean, there's not.
No.
And then when I looked at Martinsville, right? Like Denny Hamlin back in the spring. Don't hate the player, hate the game.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see this horsepower maybe translate onto some of these other tracks. I think it's a good move by NASCAR. Like you said, Jake, I think it's a baby step. It's a stepping stone into the next direction. Yes, unfortunately, the way that these cars are engineered and designed, you can't jump it to 1,000 horsepower right off the bat. You just can't. But I like how NASCAR's getting innovative.
Mm-hmm.
Let's take it to the next level a little bit. Let's see what we can do. Yep. And then if it's successful, maybe we jump it up from 750 to an 850. It's a good start and it's a good direction. But most likely what will end up happening is if this 750 is successful in 2026, you'll probably see the 750 package on every single track in 2027 minus super speedways. It's just that's probably going to be the next direction. So again,
I don't think you go. I don't. Is this like you just said? If it's 750s successful this year, I think they're going to do 1 year with them all, but minus, like you said, super speedways, and then it's going to be like, okay, we can go higher. And I hope they keep doing it. And I hope they don't be like, oh, then no, this is not a good idea. Because you know how NASCAR gets.
Well, and the sad part is like, and again, the black eye that came out from this, when we do our 2025 NASCAR year in review in November, I think NASCAR did a lot of great things this year. I think one of the biggest things that I loved, obviously, was the television broadcasting with the 4 partners. I think that was incredible.
Mm-hmm.
But the one thing that I think had a black eye on the sport was still this next gen car creates zero passing. Zero. Correct. And it's a lot of aero blocking and all that type of stuff. And there's only been probably a handful of tracks in this next gen car we can look back on and go, damn, that was a great race. One of them happened 2 weeks ago, Kansas, by the way, folks.
Yeah. I saw a little bit of that race, but
I definitely tuned in. I was really happy about that result. But like I said, I mean, unfortunately, though, the black eye on the sport, I think this year was the loss of viewerships on the road courses. I really do believe that.
Yeah.
And again, whether a lot of fans want to admit it or not, right? This sport is born and bred on short tracks. It is born and bred on short tracks. And as I was like doing just now in our discussion, I was thinking of other tracks that could be getting the 750 package next year. Darlington.
Yeah.
Darlington's a 1.3. Then you have North Wilkesboro going back on the schedule. North Wilkesboro is going to have a 750 package. Bristol, Martinsville, Phoenix, like all these tracks that we've been complaining about for years, or the last couple of years in this next gen car, they're going to have a higher horsepower package. I like the move. I'm all for it. I hope it's successful, and we run the 750 package moving forward in 2027. I mean, trust me, I would love to see an 850 package or 1,000. Bring NASCAR back to full throttle, baby. Bring NASCAR back to full throttle. So, fuck those guys over in Europe that run those small. I had to get that shot in. I know you guys haven't heard me in 7 weeks, but I had to take that shot at F1. So anyways, like I said, the news this week out of the garage is that NASCAR increasing horsepower for the Cup Series up to several tracks in 2026. Again, it looks like NASCAR is going to be increasing the 750 package of all road courses and tracks under 1.5 miles. So pretty exciting. Pretty exciting for 2026. I will say that. But let's jump back into 2025. Let's talk about what we saw this past Sunday. Jake, Roval this past weekend down in Charlotte. First, what do you think of the race?
Oh, I thought it was a good race. I think, but I should say I went in there with I went into watching the race with low expectations because I just don't. I'm not a road course guy. Everybody on here that watches knows I don't like them. But I actually enjoyed it. I thought it was really good racing. I didn't like. I was like, well, I was going to watch the SVG show today, and we didn't get that, which was awesome. I mean, obviously, it's a lot better for me to watch my guys up front all day, but I thought it was a really good race. I love seeing Christopher Bell up there, fighting SVG, holding them off. Like that was great. And I just like at the end when guys are fighting for that next playoff spot. That was awesome.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you about the ending of this race. I mean, the ending was probably when fans complain about the playoff system. This is why NASCAR doesn't care about your freaking opinion, right? What they got out of the elimination race down at the Roval was exactly what the playoff system is designed to do. Okay. What I loved about the Roval this past weekend, first of all, I'm all in favor of the Roval. I don't think we should be racing Charlotte twice on an oval. I just don't. I for a couple years when the Roval was first around, I was like, this is stupid, whatever, get them back on the oval. But now it's kind of built its own identity. It's a different track, Memorial Day, and then in the playoff race, it's the Roval. I like it. And this past weekend, what I saw was yes, we went to a road course. Most likely it was going to be the SVG show. Kind of was a little bit. But the drivers started fit, and maybe I don't know if it's because it wasn't it's not a natural road course where SVG had a lot more issues, and the other drivers had better opportunities. But I thought the show itself was really good, and like I said, at the end of the race, we had a playoff battle that literally came to the final corner. I thought the Roval was exactly what it's advertised to be: chaotic. A chaotic elimination race. And like I said, for the fans that hate the playoff system and they want NASCAR to eliminate it, unfortunately, what you saw on Sunday, NASCAR's basically going to be like, yeah, thank you for your advice. We're not getting rid of it.
Yeah.
We're not.
No, it was good. I mean, obviously, I never was really a fan of the Roval, but after watching it, like you just said this past weekend, I've kind of leaning more towards the I like it. And the ending really secured it for me because of one guy. But at the end of the day, the whole want to get rid of the playoffs, you can't say better than you said. I mean, that's what NASCAR just proved to everybody. This is why we have it.
So it's funny you just brought that up, like the driver that ended up at the end of the race, right? And clearly. But how is it that the 1 and the 11 are always tied to the hip when something stupid happens? Why is it? It's always Denny and Ross. It's amazing to me how we always see Denny Hamlin, Ross Chastain when stupid happens, and always, I love it. I love how Ross and Denny were linked together. It's hysterical, and of course. I couldn't wait. I was like, oh shit. Like, of course, Ross gets into the 11. Great, by the way, great move by the 1. You have to try to get any way around that 11. Unfortunately, your tires were basically just bald at that point. You end up spinning. Looked reminiscent of Martin Truex Jr. and Jimmy Johnson in the inaugural Roval race, right? And it was hysterical. And it's like, at the end of the race, I'm like, oh shit. Denny's going to go off. Of course, because it's the 1. Denny is going to flip out, right? And Denny took it like Denny was cool about it. He's like, listen, I don't blame Ross. Like that, if I was in that situation, I'd do the same thing.
Could you be mad at a guy who took you out and then said, fuck it, I'm running this in reverse?
Yeah, no,
This should be around a 9. He should be in for that.
he should just get honorary points for
Yes.
just finishing in reverse.
They should have been like, you know what, Logano, I know you guys tied and you have the advantage, but after that, we're gonna put Ross in.
Yeah, I would say just because of style points, Ross Chastain deserves a playoff spot. But it's just funny how the 1 and the 11 always end up being together when something stupid happens.
Yep.
But we're going to talk about Denny in a second. We're going out to a Blown Engine chat line. Triovar, great friend Triovar Life checks in. You were at the race. I know you were because I saw your videos and pictures, which were absolutely immaculate. Triovar said the Roval is always great. I don't disagree with you. I completely agree with that. He also says if anyone doesn't like the Roval, needs to go to the next one and sit in the 400 section. I'm assuming that's where his seats were this past weekend at the Roval. And this is Trioval's comments for our listening audience to see what he had to say. I forgot to put that up when I was reading it.
That's what I always like. I want to go to Charlotte, but I'm like,
I want to go to the Coke 600 in the worst way, but I feel like
I want to go to Roval now.
I know.
I want to go to the Roval. But I got to go to the Coke 600. I feel like you had to do that first.
Speaking of which, I love I think the race schedule this past weekend was awesome. They had the truck race on Friday afternoon. But they think Green Flag Trioval, if you're listening to us, I think it was 2:00 start. Chime in. I think it was a midday race, and then the Xfinity was a little bit later in the night or in the day on Saturday, and then Sunday obviously was the 2:30 start. Let's get into the box score real quick from the Roval before we get into more conversations about it. Box score again, courtesy of NASCAR.com. And we're just going to start off with SVG ended up winning this race, of course. Followed up by Kyle Larson, who finished second. Christopher Bell finished third. Chris Buescher finished fourth. Michael McDowell finished fifth. Ryan Preece finished sixth. Daniel Suarez finished seventh. Chase Elliott finished eighth. AJ Allmendinger finished ninth. And Tyler Reddick finished 10th. Now, your top 10 in stage one was SVG, Kyle Larson, Ty Gibbs, Christopher Bell, Ross Chastain, Michael McDowell, Chase Briscoe, Chase Elliott, William Byron, and Ty Dillon. Stage 2 top 10 was Ryan Blaney, Tyler Reddick, Chase Elliott, Ross Chastain, SVG, Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell, Joey Logano, Suarez, and Cole Custer. Laps led in this race. SVG led a grand total of 57. That was a race high. Kyle Larson, your boy, finished the race leading 27. Chris Buescher led 5. AJ Allmendinger finished 13. But Tyler Reddick finished the race leading 3 laps. Ryan Blaney led the 4 laps in this race, and that was pretty much all the laps led in the Charlotte Roval. So, final stat line courtesy of NASCAR.com. Also of note, Riley Herbst was disqualified at the end of the race. I'm not too sure what happened in that. I did not investigate that. I apologize, folks, before we got on the air. Going back to Chastain. Yeah, that had to be mechanical. Hold on. No, they basically just had it. They just basically have it on the scoreboard or on the box score as Ronnie disqualified. I don't know what that was disqualification for, but going back to what you were saying with Chastain finishing in reverse, AJ Allmendinger finished this race in reverse as well, by the way. So,
it wasn't as iconic.
It wasn't. No.
The only reason why is because Denny Hamlin got the shit under the stick and got spun. So that's why I loved him. And at the end of the day, the guy's in the round of 8 and Ross Chastain isn't. But still, when that 11 car spins around, it's the best day in the world. So
it's really weird. Even like Ross's post-race interview. And this is why I love Ross Chastain, right? He had an opportunity to get in the round of 8. I think that the strategy was he probably should have pitted for tires when Logano went down. When they found out Logano was going down pit road for tires, Chastain should have went down with him just to get fresher tires on and maintain, basically get around that track or, the traffic on the track. But at the same time, it's also like a damned if you do, damned if you don't, because Logano did have fresh tires, but he couldn't pass anybody.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if that would have helped Chastain. Obviously, with the older tires, it made Chastain absolutely have one of the best finishes in the season.
Well, and I was standing there watching it, And I was like, at first, did you realize? I think Denny was trying to push him to the end. And then once they got on to the actual track, I think Ross was just too slow and Denny had to go around him.
So it's interesting because there's a catch there what you just said, right? Do I think Hamlin was trying to push to one? I don't necessarily. You might be right, but I don't know if that's accurate. And the only reason why I say that is because at the end of the race, like we were told you I was going back to Denny Hamlin. Him and Chris Gale on pit road got into a massive fight on pit road with each other, argument. And there's speculation that the argument ended up stemming from because he did not know what the point situation was. And if he knew, he would have he would have rode behind Chastain because the Chevrolet drivers behind Chastain, I believe, was Alex Bowman and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Those two had organizational orders to basically manage your tires, quote unquote, which we all know what that means. Don't pass the one, you know? Yeah. But at the same time, I believe that the 11, if he knew the point situation, would have let Ross go into the round of 8. Because here's the thing too, folks. If you're Denny Hamlin, you're on the quest of your first ever NASCAR Cup Series championship. Who would you rather have in the round of 8? Would you rather have Ross Chastain or Joey Logano? And granted, both drivers are very good at Las Vegas. So I don't know that it could have been damned if you do, damned if you don't. You let Chastain go when Chastain goes to Vegas and wins the damn race. But we have seen that 22 in the next gen car. We've seen that 22 car win at Las Vegas twice out of the last 3 races, 2022 and 2024, and merged and finished into the championship 4. Logano loves Vegas and they love the gamble out there, him and Paul Wolfe. So, like, again, I believe that if Hamlin had his choice, he would want Chastain because Chastain on speed is better than Logano in 2025. But the problem is that do you trust Chastain and Phil Surgeon to make a, reckless game plan Hail Mary? Probably not. They're probably a little bit more conservative. Well, I mean, I don't even know if that's accurate because we had the Hail Melon a couple years ago. But I would rather trust that Chastain doesn't make that fuel mileage gamble than Logano does.
Yeah.
And this is the problem now. And we're going to talk about these playoff drivers coming up in a minute that remain. I think that's what made Hamlin pissed because it's like, why did we let him into the round of 8? We could have had the 1, probably a little bit easier of a path once we get past Las Vegas.
Yeah. I mean, and I was like, because I was saying to my dad, like, he's going to push him to the finish because he fucking hates Logano. Yeah. I thought, to me, I mean, I think how do these drivers not know?
Some of them I just feel like are just so wrapped up in advance at that point because, like, when I look at Hamlin, the leaderboard reset after this past weekend. Hamlin's the points leader right now.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe he was just so advanced that he just didn't give a shit. That Chris Gale didn't care. He's like, whatever, we're already locked in, we're good to go. And here's the other thing: I had this debate with a good friend of mine this past week. I said the problem with I think Hamlin is such a veteran in the round of 8 in the playoffs. The problem with what Chris Gale is not a veteran crew chief. Chris Gale has worked with Eric Jones and Ty Gibbs throughout his whole career. This is all brand new to Chris Gale. So if this was Chris Gabehart would have given him the information. Chris Gale is probably like, oh, we're advanced. We're good to go. Like, don't worry about it. Yeah. Whereas a veteran like Chris Gabehart would be like, listen, you passed the 1, you got to face the 22 in the round of 8. So I think that's where a lot of the frustration stemmed from on pit road after the race with Chris Gale and Denny Hamlin. But like I said, I got to give Denny Hamlin a lot of credit. I mean, Chastain's the one that spins you out. You're pissed, all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
I thought there would be more fireworks, but there wasn't. And I give Denny Hamlin a lot of credit. He was like, listen, if I was put in that situation, I'd probably do the same thing.
Yeah. I'm surprised he didn't blow a fucking head gasket after that.
Me too. Other notes from the Roval. SVG cleared his 5th road course win in 2025. The only road course he did not win was COTA. Christopher Bell got it. We kind of knew that Shane Van Gisbergen is going to be a road course rainer. This is exactly what Trackhouse Racing was banking on with him coming over, go collect the victories. Van Gisbergen's got 5 victories in 2025. And I get it. They're all on road courses. They're not on ovals, and everyone gets pissed off about that. You can't take away what the guy has done. You just really can't.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they're far away from being a contender, You just have to contend on an oval. Like you said, I'm not taking away what he's done in road courses, but look at this. If he just performed, he would be in the round of 8.
Well, it's interesting. We said that before the playoffs started. We said that before the playoffs started. If he just was able to get through the round of 16, you knew he was going to the round of 8
Yep.
because you knew the Roval was going to kind of be a back in his back pocket. Um, but again, we said it before we went on our 7-week hiatus. You can't have an average finish that bad on ovals. You just can't and expect to be a competitor in the playoffs. You don't have a road course every single round. You just don't. No. Last year would have been a different story. You had Watkins Glen, you had the Roval, but this year you did not. You had some really interesting tracks in this playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Really interesting tracks. And SVG, it's a damn shame because I was like, if only he was able to clear it around the 16, he would have been. We would have been talking about him in the round of 8.
Yeah.
But the one thing I will take away, this was definitely not one of SVG's dominant road course wins, though. I mean, I guess in regards to laps led, he led 57 of them, raced high. But Jake, as we alluded to earlier in this episode, he had legit tough competition with other drivers. Kyle Larson was a competitor for a while in this race. Christopher Bell was a competitor a while in this race. But I'm looking at the top 10 again, right? You got guys who have won or are expected to be a top 5 car at road courses, finished in the top 10, right? SVG obviously won. Kyle Larson has won at the Roval multiple times in his career. Christopher Bell has won at the Roval. Then you have Chris Buescher, who we all know how great he is on top 10s at road courses. Michael McDowell's a road course guy. Daniel Suarez, Chase Elliott's won multiple races at the Roval. AJ Allmendinger is a road course guy. Tyler Reddick is a road course guy. There was legit competition. And this one, I do have to give credit to the 88 strategy and the pit team on. They came away with a really good strategy. Do I think they were the best car this race? No, I actually don't. I think it was the 5. I think the 5 was the best car at the Roval. But what I do believe is that the 88 had the best strategy and capitalized on his strategies in this race, right? I mean, you saw how when they end up pitting, they pitted at the perfect time, where the 5 kind of waited a couple laps, but came in a little too early just to get ahead of SVG and try to play defense on them. That's not how you're going to beat SVG. You have to, if you have a car to compete with SVG, you have to match strategy with SVG. Because I believe if the 5 had the right strategy, the exact strategy as the 88, I do think that the 5 probably would have ended up in victory lane this past weekend. I really do.
I knew that last pit stop when he came out, he only had 3-second lead on him. I was like, you're not going to hold him off for, I think it was 11 laps or something like that. And he's going to catch you.
Yeah, I mean, and again, a lot of these drivers ended up going off strategy a little bit. Like the 9, I'll use Chase Elliott as an example. The 9 had an off strategy. You live and die by the off strategy, and for him, I don't think he had the speed to match the 88, but he had the strategy to be like, listen, if we could just catch a caution here and just get the clean air, we may end up pulling away from the 88. Unfortunately, though, that did not happen, and it's very difficult to bank on cautions at road courses. That's the one thing I've learned since stage racing has existed. Cautions with road courses, and I'm all for the way that they do cautions at road courses, by the way, folks. I don't think if a car ends up spinning on the track, I don't think that warrants a caution. I really don't.
No.
The only way you get a caution is if you're just stuck. And that's
can't fire the car.
Can't fire the car and you're stuck. That's it. There's too much racetrack on road courses to sit there and throw a caution anytime a car goes spinning around.
There would be how many? It'd be double-digit cautions.
Every single week. So, like I said, I mean, so this was a very interesting test. I don't know, like necessarily, is this to me an outlier test? Was this an outlier race where SVG has never ran on the Roval and he just wasn't accustomed to the braking zones? And listen, for a guy who has never really experienced the Roval, leading 57 laps, still win the race is damn good. It's still damn impressive
Oh, he was really good at the
at the end.
and braking and everything, and
Hmm.
that they were saying like, oh, this might help Kyle Larson, but he was actually braking better than he was.
Well, that's the one thing too. Like, and yes, there was a lot of competition with SVG, which we have not seen at other road courses in 2025. And that's why I'm like, wow, this was an exciting race because there was some competition in this race. But it's almost like wasn't an outlier because SVG wasn't used to the Roval and these other drivers were, or was this just something where the field finally caught up to him?
Yeah, I mean,
And
I
we
guess
will not.
next year.
That's what I was gonna say, and we will not know the answer to see if the competition has gotten closer to SVG on road courses until 2026. And kind of going back to topic number one tonight on the Broken Wheel Bearing podcast, I'm interested to see what's going to happen with the horsepower. I'm very excited to see
Yeah,
what happens with the horsepower. You have an even playing field with all these drivers moving forward at 750 horsepower. Braking zones change. It's going to change.
yeah,
The arrow's going to change on those cars. That's where it's like 2026 is where we're going to see, okay, can SVG maintain that dominance on the road course, or can the field finally catch up to SVG? Final thoughts on the Roval before we get into our round of 8 drivers.
no, I mean, like I said earlier, it was a great race. I know I texted you on Sunday. I wasn't really happy with how SVG was. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, and this is anybody can argue this. At the end of the day, everybody's racing for a win. But when you're racing a guy who's in the playoffs, trying to get to another race, and you're going up to him and you're fucking banging him, and then he comes back and bangs you, and then you come back, I'm gonna bang him again. Like, dude, this dude's racing for a championship. Like, I get it, man. Like, you're fast on these tracks, but again, you can argue it either way. You're racing
Mm-hmm.
for a win. I want aggressive racing. I didn't want SVG just be like, oh, I'm just gonna let this guy go. That's not fair, but
Now, well, that and like kind of
but
going back to
I think that rattled SVG's cage a little bit when someone came up and was actually battling him.
well, and I just and again, I just feel like in 2025 on the road courses so far this year, I mean, I don't think SVG really had that competition the way that he did
No,
on Sunday at the Roval. I really don't. When we look back at Watkins Glen, I mean, he was out. I think he won the race by I think it was like 17 seconds intervals. In Sonoma, I mean, I do feel like at Sonoma, if Chase Elliott doesn't get in the dirt and ends up sliding on the track, he probably catches SVG, maybe. But it's a shoulda, coulda, woulda situation. We're not going to, we can't sit there and determine that was going to happen. But in regards to the other road courses that SVG has won, yeah, the Chicago Street Course, McDowell gave him a little bit of a fight, but when it was all said and done, SVG knew what he was doing. I think that this, like I said, I think that this past weekend we finally saw the drivers kind of put it, really put it at SVG and go, listen, you're great. We're catching up to you. We know your antics. We're going to get
Yep.
you. We will get you.
I think this week, like you said earlier, was a step in that direction. Like
Yes.
maybe these guys are figuring out, or Matt, we could be 100% wrong, and
Mhm.
next year SVG can win this race by 13 seconds.
Well, and that's why I was, and that, alluding to the final, like that last point I was just saying, was the Roval an outlier in regards to where the field's at in regards to competition to how close they are to SVG? Is the Roval an outlier? It could be. You're right, 100%. This could be a complete total outlier. Next year, the 750 package, you might be the most untouchable driver on the road course. We don't know that.
Yeah.
But I think matching the car to what they had in the Gen 6 may have some players back in it that were really good at road courses. Chase Elliott may actually, come back and, be able to get into those braking zones that they once were able to get into. So, with all that being said, we had 4 drivers eliminated after the Roval. We had Austin Cindric, the 223XI guys. Man, what a tough. By the way, we're going to talk about that in a second. And then the final driver was Ross Chastain. We kind of harped on Chastain a little bit in this conversation. Really, really sad about the 23XI guys. I think that Reddick's probably going to go winless this year in 2025, which sucks.
And it's crazy to even say too.
It's crazy. And Bubba, I think Bubba had, this was the break, quote unquote breakout year that we've been waiting for Bubba Wallace. So a great run from Bubba. A little disappointing for Tyler Reddick for a driver who made the round of 4 last year. Cindric got eliminated. Cindric, I think we're starting to see in his career that the round of 12 is probably his ceiling at this point. But I think what breaks my heart the most with Reddick is that going into the Roval, leaving Kansas, for all of you that do not know, his son right now is fighting for his life. His
Yeah.
infant son right now is fighting for his life with possible heart failure. And it breaks my heart. And it sucks because, like, obviously I just have a newborn son myself. And I can sit there and say probably his mind at this point is probably not in racing. It's probably to make sure that his son makes it out alive of whatever situation they're in. But in regards to that, we did have 8 drivers advance. Those drivers, Denny Hamlin, Ryan Blaney, Kyle Larson, William Byron. Right now, those guys are 1 through 4, courtesy of NASCAR.com. They're 1 through 4 in the point standings. Below the cut line right now, we have Christopher Bell, Chase Elliott, Chase Briscoe, and Joey Logano. Let's call it as is. Typical suspects.
Oh, yeah.
These are your typical suspects, guys. If you're going to win a championship, you got to go through one of these 8 guys. You're going to have to. I will say, I think the biggest surprise this year, but I don't even know if it's really that much of a surprise because he went into better equipment. Chase Briscoe makes the round of 8. His second time in the round of 8, by the way. He made it back in 2022 with Stewart Haas Racing. Better equipment. Right now, he's minus 14. But like I was saying earlier in the show, when I was doing some data digging, right? Let's talk about Denny Hamlin, who quote unquote is your points leader, right? Denny Hamlin has not had the best playoff run at the moment. Hamlin in his playoff races so far, he's finished 7th at Darlington. He won Gateway, but then he finished 31st at Bristol, 12th at New Hampshire, 2nd at Kansas, and 23rd at the Roval. So for me to see him as the points leader, it's like, that's pretty interesting. But he also has 5 wins in 2025.
Yeah.
So you're talking about stacking playoff points. There it is right there. Let's talk about Denny Hamlin real quick. I mean, is this finally the year that the 11 gets over the hump?
I mean, he has a huge. I mean, I think you're going to see him in the final 4. I mean, you got very favorable traction. I mean, you got Martinsville, who, what did he do earlier this year?
Yep.
So I mean, I think he has. I think out of the 8, I think the people who have the biggest advantage, and I mean, I'm not going to say I'm going to honor a mention for William Byron because that guy can win any race. But I think the tracks that we're going to be at, I think the guys that have the biggest advantage, I think it is Hamlin, Blaney, and Larson with the tracks in this round.
Yeah.
And I honestly, I mean, I personally was saying, I hate to say this, I think the guy to beat right now is Ryan Blaney.
So let's talk about Blaney. Let's talk about that. Blaney's actually had a really good playoff run. He finished 18th at Darlington, 4th at Gateway, 4th at Bristol, 1 New Hampshire, finished 24th at Kansas, 13th at Roval. But let's not take away what this man has done on the tracks that are coming up. Yes, Vegas, he has not pulled off a win yet. Top 5 car, usually there. Talladega, he's won. Martinsville, he's won back-to-back years with the back against his wall to go win the championship. Ryan Blaney is it's going to sound very stupid to say this, but all 8 of these drivers are a massive threat on the next 3 drivers.
Yeah.
Massive threat. And if you're a fan of any one of these 8 drivers, man, you got to be sitting there licking your chops going Las Vegas, Talladega, and Martinsville. My driver 1000% is making it into the round of 4, and they have a shot at winning the championship. Ryan Blaney is a perfect example of that. You go to 2 of those 3 tracks, and like I said, he's not bad at Vegas. He's good at Vegas. The thing about Ryan Blaney, he excuse me, I'm sorry, misread that. Ryan Blaney though has an opportunity to go to Las Vegas. I mean, Penske does pretty well with Joey Logano at Las Vegas, but at the same time, if you're a Blaney fan, you're looking at Talladega and Martinsville.
Yes.
You're gonna flip one of those finishes most likely into a win. Denny, in regards to Denny, Denny has won a race on all three of these tracks in the
Mm-hmm.
next round. He's won at Vegas in 2021. He's won at Talladega multiple times, and he's won at Martinsville as recently as this past spring. So that monkey off his back that he can't win at Martinsville kind of got taken off of his shoulders. Do I think that he gets it? Do I think that he's going to sweep Martinsville this year? I do not. But that win probably comes at a track like Talladega.
That's what
These
I would
guys are,
think.
dude. These drivers are going to play so conservative at Talladega until the last 5 laps, 1000%. But you brought up William Byron, and what's interesting about Byron has struggled this playoff run. Like when I mean he has struggled, he's only got one top five, one top five, two top tens in the last 6 races. Those races were New Hampshire finished third and ninth at Kansas. Finished 21st at Darlington, 11th at Gateway, 12th at Bristol, and then 11th at the Roval. So he's just right outside the top 10. But this has not been a William Byron year that we're like, oh my gosh, we're so accustomed to. The last couple of seasons, he's been completely tearing the playoffs apart. He's been struggling. And for me, I personally do believe that William Byron still has a shot to win one of these races. I do. He's won at Las Vegas before.
Yeah. But he's got his teammate who dominates there.
Well, there's a couple drivers. So you went with Byron. You said you talked about Byron. We talked about Blaney. A couple of drivers that I'm keeping an eye on in this next round. And one is the 22 of Joey Logano. And I think that this is why a lot of people, for me, hated seeing Joey Logano get into the next round, primarily Denny Hamlin.
Yeah.
Because when Las Vegas, Talladega, and Martinsville, I don't think he's a factor at Martinsville. But Talladega, we know how he does on super speedways.
Yeah.
And if he has the lead at a super speedway, you know he's either going to wreck or is going records or checkers. It don't matter.
Oh, yeah.
At Las Vegas, 2 of the last 3 races in the playoffs, he has won at Las Vegas. Back in 24, back in 22, off of strategy alone. Joey Logano is a real threat in this round. And yes, right now he sits minus 24 in the points, but that could easily change after this weekend.
Oh, yeah.
Easily change after this weekend. Another driver, personally for me, that I think is getting overlooked going into this round, and I finally have come around on it, Chase Elliott. This round has absolutely might be setting Chase Elliott up for another championship run. Vegas, Vegas, but Talladega and Martinsville, he's won at Talladega twice in his career. He's won at Talladega in the playoffs. Martinsville, let's call it as is with Chase Elliott. He was very good there this past spring. He was very good there last fall when the show was on the road last year. We were rooting for Chase Elliott to win that race. Almost did. His boy Ryan Blaney took the lead with less than 15 to go. The rest is history. But all these playoff failures for the 9. The best thing that could have happened to the 9 this year, winning Kansas.
Yeah.
Winning Kansas, because that was the race that you're like, okay, this is the Chase Elliott we have all been waiting for. You're finally going to step up to the plate. You're going to finally take a win away from somebody, not get it taken away from you. And I'm interested to see, and he locked himself into the round of 8 with that win at Kansas. Man, if I'm the 9 and fans of the 9, like I am ecstatic for this round of the playoffs for Chase Elliott. I really like Joey Logano. I really like Chase Elliott in this round of the playoffs. And again, it could all be flipped. Like I said, Hamlin, Blaney, Larson, and Byron are your top 4. This could all be changed by the end of the next round. We could be seeing we could be seeing Joey Logano, Chase Elliott, and 2 other drivers in the final 4.
Yeah.
A couple of drivers I don't think that are getting love that I'm kind of fading on in the round of 8. Christopher Bell is a guy I'm fading a little bit. I think Bell is great. I think Bell's a great driver. I think he either has to get it done at Las Vegas. I think there's going to be too much talent at Martinsville, which he's won at Martinsville, by the way, in his career back in 2022. But I feel like if Bell needs to make the round of 4, Bell's got to win it at Martinsville. And then finally, Chase Briscoe is the last driver we have not talked about. Or excuse me, we got two drivers we haven't talked about yet. Chase Briscoe. Briscoe's a very interesting outlier because the dude qualifies on the pole almost every single race in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
But can you translate that qualifying and practice speed to race winning speed late in the race? You can do it early in stage 1 and 2, but I need to see it late in the race.
Yeah.
I think Briscoe's the one that falls short this year. But finally, Jake, I'm going to hand it over to you. Let's talk about the 5.
I mean, Talladega's out the window. He ain't fucking winning that. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. He did better this year on super speedways. He ain't winning Talladega. Yes, he's won Vegas multiple times in his year and in his career, and he's won Martinsville. I would rather see him win Vegas because I don't really have that high of hopes in Martinsville. I think the best situation for him is he's got to win in Vegas.
Yeah,
because I think you're going to see a different winner every week.
I do too. And honestly, I could see a non-playoff driver winning Talladega too. I mean, let's call it.
Yeah,
that could happen. That did happen last year, by the way, with Stenhouse winning that race. Stenhouse won that race and he was a non-playoff driver. I could see a non-playoff driver winning Talladega. But in regards to Larson, I agree with you. It's similar to, well, I don't know if it's similar. It's eerie similar to Logano.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like one of those two are going to punch their ticket into the championship for Las Vegas. I really do. I think that those two are the best drivers at the track at Las Vegas, Kyle Larson and Joey Logano. Logano is much better in the fall than the spring. But I think that when it comes down to it, I think it comes down to Joey Logano, Kyle Larson at Las Vegas.
Yeah.
But in order to punch your ticket, I agree. I think Larson has to get it done at Vegas. If not, I do think that there's going to be, I think, we thought this past weekend at the Roval was absolutely crazy and insane. I think that if it comes down to Martinsville, you might see some weird playoff scenarios happening at Martinsville. If from like the 5, from the 24, from the 19, one of those drivers.
I agree.
So again, with that being said, standings currently coming out of the Roval, your round of 8 standings at the moment. You have Hamlin, who's leading the circuit, +8. Blaney is +6. Kyle Larson's +4. William Byron's +4. Below the cut line right now, Christopher Bell is -4. Chase Elliott's -14. Chase Briscoe's -14. And Joey Logano is -24. Man, oh man, we have a round of 8 that's going to be exciting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really excited about this round. I think it's going to – I love how they moved Talladega and Martinsville in the same round. I think it creates a lot of chaotic controversy, in my personal opinion, on that one. But, okay, well, that takes us to the green and white checker tonight on the Roval round of 8 discussion. Jake, let's talk about our picks this week as we head into Vegas. I'm going to start off with you. Go for it.
I even got to say it. Number 5.
Number 5.
I'm only picking one because I can only root for one. We're in playoffs now. I can only choose one, and I'm choosing him. This is the only race I'm choosing him in besides Phoenix if he makes it there.
All right, so you're going Larson. Shocker. Shocker. I guess I got 3 picks this week. So my first pick, I'm going with the driver that everyone's probably fearing and hate to see in the round of 8. I'm going with the 22. Going Joey Logano. DriverAverages.com since since the start of the next gen car, excuse me, folks. He has a 12.6 average finish. He's got 2 wins at this track. He's led 4.7% of the laps, 2 top 5s, 3 top 10s, the whole 9 yards. Logano's decorated at this race. And if you give me an opportunity to have a driver that's going to pull a gamble, Hail Mary on fuel, this is the guy and the crew chief that are going to do it. Joey Logano, Paul Wolf. I like the moves that they make in the playoffs. I think it does scare a lot of teams. I think Hamlin should be pissed because I necessarily think that this is the worst driver that you could have in the round of 8. Joey Logano is my first pick this week.
You have to tell me Larson's average and his stats on Vegas.
Mm-hmm. So, according to DriverAverages.com, you talk about Kyle Larson. Larson, since 2022, next gen car, 8.7 average finish at Las Vegas. in 7 races. He's got 2 wins, 4 top 5s, 5 top 10s. But here's the stat that's going to be probably the kicker for Larson fans that believe that he's going to win Las Vegas. He has led 24.8% of those laps at Las Vegas in this next gen car. That ranks first in the Cup Series. I mean, that's a very, very hard man to bet against, in my personal opinion. Pick number 2 for me this week, I'm going to go William Byron. 6.3 average finish in this next gen car at Las Vegas with 1 win, 4 top 5s, 6 top 10s, 11.2% of the laps led. I know I was just shitting on William Byron, saying it's not been the best playoff run for him, but at the same time, I like him in the spot. I mean, this is a driver. Listen, he's been very quiet throughout the postseason. He's actually really had a quiet year. Let's call it as is. It's 2023. He broke out into the scene. 2024, he had a lot of wins. But in 2025, he's been very quiet. 2 wins, the Daytona 500 and at Iowa. I do believe that William Byron, if he wants to make the championship 4, he has to win at Las Vegas. I just think there's too much talent in the other 2 tracks for him to pull the victory off. And then pick number 3 this week. I'm going to go a non-playoff driver. I'm going to go with Ross Chastain.
Oh, yeah, pick.
And I think with Chastain, if he wins this race, I think that you're going to look at him basically in disgust, because if he made it past the Roval, I think he would have made it to the championship 4 by winning Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Since the next gen car, Jake, Ross Chastain's had a 5.4 average finish in 7 races, 5 top 5s, 6 top 10s, 8.9% of the laps led in those 7 races. 5.4 average finish from Chastain ranks first among all active drivers in the series in the next gen car, according to driveraverages.com. So I'm going to go Logano's my pick, because I think that it does come down to fuel mileage, and something stupid's going to happen in 22, and Paul Wolf are going to take care of business. Pick number 2 I like is William Byron, and pick number 3 is a non-playoff driver. Let's go Ross Chastain.
I like it.
Me too. So, all right, let's go to the Blunt Engine chat line. I know you're gonna love this comment.
No, we're not
I'm gonna love this comment too. It comes from Brandon. Checks in.
It's not about NASCAR.
I don't even care if it's about NASCAR or not. It warms my heart with this comment. Penn State sucks. You're damn right they suck. I am so happy, Jake. And tell me about your misery about going to the Oregon game, by the way, while you're on air.
It was a great day till the game started.
I don't know if the UCLA, I mean, like, come on.
I don't even want to talk about it. I can't even. I don't even want to relive it.
For all of you that don't know, I hate, like, you would think I would love Penn State because, again, we are the southeast corner of Pennsylvania's voice in NASCAR. I hate Penn State. And the reason why.
I think you hate James Franklin.
I don't hate Franklin. I just will never forgive the university for what the scandal happened. And it doesn't matter. I can't forgive them. So
I'll never forgive what they did to Joe Paterno.
Yeah, well, that too. I mean, the administrators and all that type of stuff, that's a whole separate topic. But yeah, so I'll never forgive them from the scandal. And I love it when they lose. I love it. I text Jake all the time because he lost in a blew out, aka the UCLA Banners. Brandon, thank you. It had to be said this week. It had to be said. Anyways, Jake, Phillies tonight, they're on. And they're probably going to get swept.
You got to be a fan, man. You got to watch them. Anything can happen. Anything can happen.
I would love to say that, but this ain't Ted Lasso. We ain't believing.
I mean, I don't have a lot of belief left, but this is the typical what happens to us. I saw a thing today. The Phillies are the Buffalo Bills of the MLB.
I don't even know if they are. I think they're the Sixers of the MLB, but that's just me.
It's just that, like, they make it in just like the Bills and they choke. So it fits.
So let me ask you. So I guess this is going to be your question of the week and let's bring it back to NASCAR real quick before we jump off. Who is the Buffalo Bills of NASCAR? Who's the Buffalo Bills in NASCAR? I mean, that's the running joke. The Bills always get to the AFC Championship game.
Do you want me to tell you who it is? Because he hasn't won one yet? Denny Hamlin.
That's pretty good. That is a really, really good answer. I would probably. Oh, damn. I mean, I guess you have to say Hamlin,
Yeah.
right? Like he's won all these races, just like the Buffalo Bills. They've won all these games. Hamlin's won all these races, and has gotten eliminated in the round of 4 almost all well, or the round of 8. Yeah, he hasn't won a championship. I would say that's a good one. I would say
Yeah.
Hamlin probably is the or the Buffalo Bills of NASCAR. I
Yep.
don't know if there's anybody else that probably matches that because based off criteria and based
Yeah.
off wins.
He's got that pretty secured. Unless he wins it this year, then I guess.
Unless he wins it this year, yeah. That's a good one. That's a good way to end. That's a good way to end tonight's episode. Well, folks,
We'll see what everybody else has to say, though. We'll put it in the.
Yeah, I'm pretty
on the
excited
page.
about that. Yeah, I might have to do that.
Yeah.
But all right, Jake, it's been 7 weeks. This was fun tonight.
Yep. Been good to be back. Good to be back.
Yeah, really fun to be back. Thanks for everyone who joined in on the One Engine chat line tonight. Again, we'll be back every Wednesday throughout the rest of the season here on our YouTube station and Facebook channel. If you love what you're hearing, follow us on Facebook at the Broken Wheel Bearing Podcast. Follow us on YouTube at the Broken Wheel Bearing Podcast. As I'm saying that, Brandon just checked in. He said Hamlin 100% too.
Yep.
Yeah. Whoops. I don't know. Sorry. Wrong. I hit the wrong stream. There we go. Yeah, he said. Brandon said Hamlin 100% on Buffalo.
It's gonna be a hard one.
I don't think I don't think you can beat that. I just don't. I mean, I honestly, historically, it might be Kevin Harvick.
I mean, yeah.
He has the championship though, so it's kind of tough to sit there and say, yeah.
You got to pick someone who doesn't have a championship and who's dominated. Well, there's only one guy.
I hope he hears us. I hope he listens to us and he hears how much we're saying he's the Buffalo Bills in NASCAR, and he just
he probably can't even argue it.
He probably can't. Anyways, again, if you love what you're hearing, follow us on Facebook at the Broken Wheel Bearing Podcast, YouTube at the Broken Wheel Bearing Podcast, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Amazon Music. Hit the follow button at the Broken Wheel Bearing Podcast. In 7 weeks you would have thought I would have uploaded all the episodes. I didn't. So maybe eventually I'll get around to it. Maybe I'll just do it in the off season. I don't know. Anyways, we appreciate everyone's love, support, and listening to us ramble about fast cars going in circles, essentially. Jake, it's been a pleasure tonight.
Yep.
Absolute pleasure. And for all the fans that are going to Vegas, I'm hoping that might be a show on the road in the near future. Enjoy yourself at Sin City this upcoming week, wherever you're watching the race. Enjoy it as well. Jake, we'll chat next week with all of our fans here on the Broken Wheel Bearing Podcast. With all that being said, have a wonderful night. Be safe. I guess go Phillies.
Yep.
I guess go Phillies.
All right, everyone. I'll see you.
With all that, deuces.